Welcome back to Chess Lovers channel. In my hands I'm holding 3 important chess books. The idea with these books is that they are position orientated, and I'm going to talk about the books one by one, beginning with this one, 300 most important chess positions. This book is mainly dealing with positional positions, and the subtitle is Study 5 a week to be a better chess player. So this is actually a training program I have participated in myself as a very young player. I assume I was around 15, 16 years old when I did this program, and it was inspired by Pachman's small booklets, Mittelspielpraxis im Schach, Endspielpraxis im Schach. A few times I met a trainer in Stockholm called Robert Danielsson, and we discussed how I could discipline a chess program. And the idea was to study 5 positions every week, so I would be proficient in the endgame area and the middle game area. As an adult, I got the idea that this program might be suitable for many other chess players around the globe. And it inspired me to write this book. So my original plan was only to write this one, as you can see. I'm holding in my hand here. The original idea was to have a quota with 100 most important openings, 100 most important middle games, and 100 most important endings. I also had several email courses, at least 2 in Swedish, where I could investigate what really are the 300 most important positions in a general perspective. I mean, the degree of difficulty should vary from beginner's level to highest level. And the idea is that by studying 300 important positions, you will also learn other positions at the same time. Essentially, you can say that if you are learning 1 position, you are learning 50 positions, but you must know what positions we are talking about. So I decided that it would be best to write about 150 middle games positions, and in those positions discussions about opening and transitions between opening and middle game will be discussed as well, and 150 endings, because there are quite many important positions, and this book is focusing on positional positions. So how is the structure in the book? So first I have an introduction where I'm telling you where I got this idea. I'm talking about these books by Pachman. And then I'm starting off with development of the pieces. Of course, Morphy is a very important figure in chess history here, but this chapter is also progressive in the way that how did Alekhine, Smyslov, Tal, more modern players interpret Morphy's development theories and expanded on them. So it's a very important chapter. You must understand the time aspect in chess. Also, I mean, we are talking about time, force, and space, so exchange of material is also very important. I mean, when do we exchange a piece? why do we exchange in piece, and how do we do it? Many positional handbooks don't deal with this matter, actually. And then maneuvering positions with knight maneuvers, bishop maneuvers, rook maneuver, queen maneuver, and also maneuvering with several pieces. So here the principle of the second witness is important. Then we go on to the pawns, pawn play and the center. Pawn play on the wing, pawn play in the center. Play on the wings, the minority attack, queen side attack, king side attack. Of course, majority attack is involved here as well. And this very interesting chapter, psychological and pragmatic moves, is also highly ignored in chess literature. So I exemplify with Boris Spassky and Giri. And then part 2 of the book is 150 most important positions in the ending, beginning with pawn endings, which I believe is the ending to start with. Then knight endings, bishop endings, knight and bishop endings, rook endings, and queen endings. You should probably study rook endings after pawn endings, but in this book the structure is according to the value of the piece. So of course you can read such a book according to your needs. So it doesn't really matter what level you have, because all positions are important. And if you find the position is too easy, then you just go on to the next position. And if you find the position is too difficult, then you go back and review it next time. So the idea is never to forget these positions. They should be in your head for the rest of your life. So this is a position-oriented approach, which is necessary for all chess players if you have ambitions to become a really good player. And there are not so many books which are position-orientated in the way that they are explaining which positions are the most important. I mean, it's, to my mind, completely useless to study positions without a plan or without a structure. So you should know what positions to study and then repeat them so they are part of your organism, so to speak. You should be these positions. That is the goal. This book was quite popular, so that gave me the idea to expand on this idea, but focus on the 300 most important, sorry, that was the wrong book. This is the second book, 300 most important tactical chess positions. And in the beginning of this book, I'm discussing the 5 basic tricks: fork, discoverer, pin, trapping, and overloading. So these 5 basic tricks you must really know deeply. And then I'm continuing with mating combinations, the minor sacrifice and back rank mate, other mating combinations. Of course, you must know typical mating combinations. Stalemate is also discussed, it's also very important, especially in the endgame. And this is a very interesting chapter. Composing and solving problems. I also believe you will improve your tactical ability by creating your own problems as well as solving problems. And you can even solve problems like mate in 2 moves, mate in 3 moves, etc. Some trainers say that you should only focus on studies, but according to my opinion, it's very useful to study difficult 1 movers, 2 movers, 3 movers, 4 movers. And I can recommend, for example, Samuel Lloyd, one of the greatest composers of all time. It will improve your ability to calculate variations and your pattern recognition, and also improve your arsenal of unusual positions. And next chapter is calculation of variations. This is, of course, very important. You need to understand the meaning of candidate moves on a superficial level, but also on an advanced level. Motive and themes. This is inspired by Alexander Kotov's work. Stepping stones, inspired by Jonathan Tisdal's ideas. Evaluations. And this is also very important chapter, pragmatism or deep analysis. Then I continue with knight maneuvers and knight sacrifices, bishop maneuvers and bishop sacrifices, exchange sacrifices, rook maneuvers and rook sacrifices, queen maneuvers and sacrifices, and king maneuvers, because the king can't sacrifice itself unless the king's position is very unsafe. Then you are sacrificing your king, you might say, but you can't do it in real sense, so to speak. Then I'm discussing pawn play, the unexpected pawn break, and this is very interesting. The unexpected pawn push. This is not discussed almost at all in chess literature, and I had this experience myself even 2 times against the strong Lithuanian grandmaster Rosentalis, who managed to fool me in 2 games with the unexpected pawn push. The pass pawn is also discussed. Dynamic play with pawns. And then, of course, attacking the king. You can attacking the king with pawns, attacking the king with pieces. Prophylaxis against an attack on the king with pieces. Attack on the king with major pieces. Attack and defense with diagonals are involved. Counterattack or prophylaxis. So that is the middle game chapters. And part 2 of the book, in this book, which we are still discussing, 150 most important tactical positions in the end game. And I have the same structure here as in the orange book. Pawn endings, knight endings, bishop endings, knight and bishop endings, rook endings, and queen endings. And then I try to be practical in the way that all endings should be studied, but some endings should be studied more. Like, for example, rook endings, which is the most important endings to study. But pawn endings must always be studied, because pawn endings are the foundation for rook endings, and all endings, actually. So now we have discussed this plan. So if you study 600 positions, you will get a very good understanding of the most important positional position and the most important tactical positions. So this is a program, and you study each position 5 times every week. And I remember my trainer told me that it's good to have 2 free days, so you don't feel the pressure. So you have actually 2 free days, and then you can assimilate these positions in a better way, because some people make some mistakes. They practice position after position after position, but then they will forget what they learned. So I believe in the principle less is more. Focus on crucial positions and really learn them and understand them, assimilate them, be them. Then you will never forget them, and you will always be able to apply these positions in the rest of your chess life. So if you know the key positions you learn, they will be useful in other positions as well. So we are essentially talking about ideas here, And the position is just an example of a very important idea. So when you're finished with these books, I have also written this book, 300 Most Important Chess Exercises. So here the quota is part 1, 75 most important exercises in the opening and the middle game. Solutions, and the solutions are obviously very pedagogical, because I believe that solutions should be thoroughly described, both with necessary variations and with words, sentences. Part 2, 75 most important tactical exercises in the opening and the middle game, and solutions. Then we have part 3, 75 most important exercises in the end game, solutions. Part 4, 75 most important tactical exercises in the end game, solution. So 150 positions covering all phases of the game in a positional perspective, and 150 most important tactical positions covering all phases of the game, including transitions. So this is a complete course, you can see here. And we're dealing with 900 positions. But remember, 300 of these are just a test to see that you really have assimilated them. This book, 300 most important tactical 300 most important positions, it means positions, has also been translated to Chinese. So if you are a Chinese player, you can also find the concept in this book. So what should you do now if you're interested in this concept, which I strongly recommend because I had so much use of it myself? It doesn't really matter if you buy this one or this one first, or you can buy them both. And you just think of these books or one of these books as a program for 1 year. I mean, we are dealing with 300 positions, and a year had 365 days. But you also have 2 free days every week, so 5 positions every week is the energy you should put in to these positions. So to do this book takes 1 year, to do this book takes 1 year, so we have 2 years. And you also have this book. So this is a complete program, a position-orientated program. So we are not talking about games or other ways of practicing chess. We are dealing only with important ideas. Thank you for watching.